Hi. Good morning, everyone. Welcome.
Morning.
Morning.
Welcome and thank you for joining us. I am Gone Job. I'm the Community Planning Division Chief, and I'm excited to see so many of you here. Purpose of this seminar is to go over the various funding opportunities that are available to communities located in a designated sustainable community area and a Main Street area. So I'm pleased to announce that representatives from Maryland Department of Housing and Community Development are here today to provide an overview of the sustainable community and the Main Street revitalization programs. I also would like to note that this meeting is being recorded and will be posted online later. At this time, I would like to and may I ask, please mute themselves, please. Thank you. At this time, I would like to introduce Steve Lafferty, Director of the Department of Planning, who would like to welcome you all.
Thank you very much, Gane, and good morning and welcome to everybody. I'm fortunate to know a number of the people who have attending this meeting, but most importantly, as people who are deeply engaged in your communities, you add so much value, and I think that the opportunity that Gane and her team has put together for you today should also accelerate the work that you're already doing. The planning department is really willing and looking forward to being partners with all of you, to helping you if you're seeking funds through DHCD or other kind of grant or other kind of funding opportunities. But most importantly, we want to be your partners. We have worked with many of you and will hopefully work with all of you over the next number of months as we work through not only your application processes to the state, but also as we finish up the master plan and then work on other local community plans going forward. But I just want to say hello and good morning to everybody. And again, thank you for all the work you're doing in Baltimore County communities, and hope it's a very valuable session for you this morning. Thank you. Thanks, Gane. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Steve Lafferty. So at this time, before I hand it to the state, I would like to go to a quick introduction so we have an idea of who's here, and if you could state your affiliation, please. I'm just going to go to the list that I have in order here, and I do see Mr. Aaron Plymouth.
Yes, I am Aaron Plymouth. I chair the Combined Communities Advocacy Council of Greater Roundtown Incorporated, which is an umbrella organization comprised of 11 community associations and over 3,000 households. We're in the northwest area of Baltimore County.
Thank you, Mr. Plymouth. And I do see Mr. Aaron Shapiro.
I'm Aaron Shapiro, the Executive Director of Patapsco Heritage Greenway, the managing entity of the Patapsco Valley Heritage Area, covering a good portion of western Baltimore County.
Thank you and welcome. And I do see Ms. Beth Reingold.
Good morning, everybody. Beth Reingold, President of the Greater Baltimore Chamber of Commerce. We cover Pikesville, Owings Mills, Reisterstown, and Northwest Baltimore.
Thank you. Dr. Denise Daniels.
Good morning. My name is Denise Daniels. I am the Vice Chair of the Executive Board of Dream Life Worship Center. It is a non-denominational church in Northwest Baltimore with approximately 600 to 700 members.
Thank you. Emily from Northwest Chamber.
Good morning. This is Emily Winters. I'm the Executive Director at the Northwest Chamber of Commerce, and we cover Owings Mills, Reisterstown, Glendon, and Northwest Baltimore County.
Thank you. Jamila Canty.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Jamila Canty. I am a project manager with the Maryland DHCD, and I cover, let me start my video. Sorry, now you can see me. And I am a project manager for Northwest Baltimore and North Baltimore City and Northwest Baltimore County.
Thank you. Jay Dilo.
Good morning, all. Jay Dillo here in two roles. One, I'm the longstanding co-chair of the UMBC Neighborhood Relations Committee, but also now the current president of Southwest Visions Foundation, which represents the southwest part of the county. So basically from the Patapsco River up to the UMBC campus, economic and community development organization. And also we are now partners on the most recent sustainable community designated by this state. So the Arbutus Sustainable Community. So pretty excited about that. And excited to hear what we do today.
Thank you. Jean Cannon.
Hi, I'm the DHCD.
Okay, we'll come back to the state. Jessica Lovelace.
I am here representing the Overley Community Association. So we are a community association that covers the northeast corner of Baltimore City, and then the adjacent county communities as well.
Thank you. Joe Middleditch. Joe Middleditch. Juanita Barnett.
Good morning, all. I am Juanita Barnett, representing Turner Station Conservation Team in Dundalk, Maryland.
Thank you. And I do see Mary.
Hi, sorry, I was trying to unmute. Yes, I'm Mary Molinaro, and I am with the Reisterstown Improvement Association, working in our Main Street, Maryland program.
Thank you. Marianne Mulden Ferguson.
Good morning, everyone. I was invited by Stan Jacob. I'm representing Baltimore County. I'm a Baltimore County resource counselor, small business resource counselor.
Thank you and welcome.
Thank you.
Maureen Sweeney Smith.
Hi, I'm Maureen Sweeney Smith. I'm with Catonsville Rails to Trails, and we take abandoned rail lines and turn them into bike hike trails in the Catonsville area.
Thank you. Michael Thompson.
Sorry, did you say Ms. Bunch?
Michael Thompson.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Michael Thompson. I'm on the board of the Turner Station Conservation Teams.
Thank you. Namita Kumar.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Namita Kumar, the new Executive Director of Greater Catonsville Chamber of Commerce, and it's really nice to meet you all. Thank you.
Thank you. Nancy.
Good morning. I'm Nancy Hafford, the Director of the Towson Chamber, and we also manage a Maryland Main Street affiliation. And if you happen to be around Towson today or through the weekend, we've got Gardens Day today, 75 people coming out, and we're expecting 100,000 of our closest friends this weekend. So stop by.
Thank you. Nicholas Meyer.
Hi, everyone. My name is Nick Mayer. I'm with DHCD. I'm our program officer for the Bernie Baltimore Regional Neighborhoods Initiative and Project Core programs.
Thank you. And I see Paula Wolf.
Hi, I'm Paula. I'm the secretary of Southwest Visions Foundation.
Thank you. Sarah Kim.
Hello, my name is Sarah Kim. I'm from DCD as well. I'm the project manager for Southeast Region.
Thank you. Chantel Mason.
Hello, I'm the president of Security Woodlawn Business Association. I've been president about 2 years now. Thank you.
Sharon Keane.
Good morning. I'm Sharon Keene with the Chesapeake Gateway Chamber of Commerce in Eastern Baltimore County,
And I also serve as program manager for our revitalization efforts in Essex.
Thank you. Shelly Moham.
Good morning. Shelley Moorheim. I'm the president of the Pikesville Armory Foundation, we are working on the revitalization and the redevelopment of the Pikesville Armory campus.
Thank you. Shule Supe.
Good morning. I am the president of the Liberty Road Community Council. At present, I have about 29 communities under me as an umbrella organization. We have been in this area since 1958, working for the good of Liberty Road.
Thank you. Tasha Gresham James.
Hello, everyone. I'm Tasha Gresham James, Executive Director of Dundalk Renaissance.
Thank you. Dakota Hall. Tayuka Hall, I'm sorry. We cannot hear you. You can always put it in the chat box if you would like to. Thank you. And then have I missed anybody? Did anybody comes in? Okay, Crystal. Hi, Crystal.
Hi, my name is Crystal McRiotti, and I'm the Main Street Manager for Reisterstown Improvement Association. Nice to meet everyone.
Nice to meet you, and thanks for attending. Anybody else that I missed? I do see a couple of people who has joined by phone. Last 2 digits 19.
Hi, good morning. It's Bettina Tebow. I'm the Executive Director of the Greater Arbutus Business Association and also founding member and past president of Southwest Visions Foundation. It's great to be here today. Thank you for hosting this.
Thank you. It's great to have you. And then last 2 digits 44. Okay, so anybody else that I missed besides the state, because I want to give an opportunity to the state representative to introduce themselves. And I'm going to start with Larry Brown.
Good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday. Thank you for having us here today to talk about some of our great programs. My name is Larry Brown. I'm the Assistant Director for the Baltimore region and the project manager for Northwest Baltimore and Baltimore County. Now I'm gonna have Olivia introduce herself. You heard from most of our team already, so I'm just gonna allow them not to go over that to say for the sake of time, but once they start going over the slides, they can reintroduce themselves. But after Olivia, we can hand it over to Amy and her team.
Hi, good morning, everybody. I hope you can hear me okay.
Yes.
Great, thanks. I'm also with DHCD. I'm an assistant director, and I work primarily on the Sustainable Communities program. And great to see so many faces.
Good, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, good morning. Amy Seitz with the Maryland Department of Housing and Community Development. I'm the Director of Community Access and Partnership. I have to echo Olivia's. I'm also privately chatting with a bunch of you on this. It's so good to see everybody. One of the things I think that's really great about this gathering of folks is that when I looked at the list, a number of you have already been our customers for various programs. Grant funding and other things. So, which is great because it means that you have within your own community some subject matter experts or some folks to turn to say, hey, you did this project, or hey, who's done this? So that's really good. What's even better, so if that's good, what's great is there's so many of you on this call that could utilize our programs. So that gets, again, I love our current users, but it gets me more jazzed up when we're able to expand our programs to folks that maybe, it's a first time or a need or that kind of thing. Unfortunately, I do have another meeting at 11, so I am gonna again, for those of you that know me, I'm going to try to be very quiet on the call. I'm going to even like get rid of my video. But Christine McPherson, I'm going to pass it to her and let her introduce herself. On my team, she not only heads up our Main Street Maryland program, but she's going to be able to provide you additional information on our operating assistance grants, our community investment tax credit program, and our Project Restore, which will be opening another round. The other thing I will say too is this couldn't be better timed because currently our operating assistance grant round is open and those applications are due May 18th. So I feel like there'll be a lot of good opportunity out of this call. And our community investment tax credit program, which is eligible for 501c3 nonprofits, which a number of you on this call are, that opens on May 5th. So again, these are the things that get me excited. Good to see so many of you. And on that note, Christine, I'll let you introduce yourself. And then, as I like to say, Larry Brown's in charge.
Hi, good morning, everyone. It's so nice to see all of you. As Amy said, my name is Christine McPherson. I'm a project manager for the department. And my program that I work with an awful lot is our Main Street Maryland program. And of course, I wear a couple different hats on our team. So I'm happy to be here today and talk to you about the different opportunities that we have for you all.
Thank you, everybody. Larry, I think the floor and the state representative is all yours.
Excellent. Thanks again. I'm going to try to share my screen if that's okay.
Oh.
Can everybody see the screen? Okay, perfect. All right. There we go. Okay. So good morning again. My name is Larry Brown. I'm the Assistant Director for Maryland Department of Housing and Community Development for the Baltimore region and Project Manager for Northwest Baltimore and Baltimore County. Today we're going to talk about some of our state revitalization programs, mainly for fiscal year 2023. So we're going to go through our presentation. I'm going to ask everybody if you could hold your questions to the end because it's a great possibility that we will be able to answer your questions during the course of our presentation. If you're worried that you might forget it, please feel free to jot it down or just put it in the chat and we'll make sure we get back to it. So the Division of Neighborhood Revitalization, we're dedicated to working with local partners to bring new investment and vitality to Maryland's core community. We offer a broad range of loans, grants, and technical assistance programs to help local governments, nonprofit organizations, and small businesses reinvest in their communities and make great places for Marylanders to live, work, and prosper. This is a sample of our SRP appropriations for the upcoming fiscal year. Again, these numbers have not been finalized of yet. These are the recommended numbers that we received from session. However, we're still waiting for them to be finalized, but currently we anticipate—
Participant has joined the meeting.
We anticipate having $8 million for our Community Legacy Program, roughly $9 million for our Strategic Demolition Fund statewide program, around $13 million of capital fund for our Baltimore Regional Neighborhood Initiative, also known as Bernie, and we have roughly around $500,000 for our operating funds. As you see, this is the only program that we currently have operating assistance attached to. Lastly, we have our Seed Community Development Anchor and Institution Fund program, and that's
Sharon Bunch
roughly around
has left the meeting.
Okay, capital versus operating funds. Our definition of capital funding is like land, structures, bricks, and mortar. It has to at least have a 15-year shelf life. And some examples of a capital project is property acquisition, construction, architectural engineering drawings, site development, demolition, or deconstruction. Our definition of operating is costs associated with day-to-day operations of a program, organization, or business. And some examples of that is staff salaries, feasibility and planning studies, and marketing or maintenance expenses. Eligible applicants. So in order to apply for these different programs, mainly for community legacy or also known as CL, you have to be a local government or a community development corporation. And we're going to go over the definition of what a community development corporation is in a couple more slides. The same eligible applicants are for Strategic Demolition Fund, local governments or community development corporations. However, for Bernie, Baltimore Regional Neighborhood Initiative programs, only community development corporations can apply. And for SEED, only what we call EDS or MEDS, hospital and higher education institutions can apply for our SEED program. So the definition, community development corporations or organizations, CDOs, are nonprofit organizations which operates for the purpose of improving the physical, economic, social environment of a specific geographic area, including one or more neighborhoods. So again, we have a lot of entities that are set up as nonprofit 501c3s, but just because you're a nonprofit entity doesn't mean that you are a CDO, a community development organization, or a community development corporation. You have to have in your legal documents, your mission and your vision, that your focus is improving the physical, economic, and social environment, dealing with neighborhood revitalization and community development. Also, community development financial institutions, CDFIs, eligible entities, local governments, of course, groups of local governments, and hospitals. So the definition of a hospital is a group of at least 5 physicians who are organized as a medical staff for the institution, maintains facilities to provide under the supervision of the medical staff, diagnostic and treatment services for 2 or more unrelated individuals, and admits and retains the individuals for overnight care. So this is important because, again, you know, we have a lot of like little smaller institutions that are not necessarily qualified as a hospital. So like, I can't even think of one of them right now, but it's on the tip of my tongue. But one of the little spots you can come in, but they just close at like 10 o'clock. They're not necessarily eligible to apply for these funds. So now I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Olivia, to talk about the next 3 slides. And then Jean will actually come in and talk about our first program. Olivia?
Great, thanks, Larry, for the introduction. In terms of what is available to our eligible applicants, for them to qualify or to be eligible, the projects themselves have to be in our specified target areas, and for us, that is a sustainable community. We have them across the state of Maryland. As you know, congratulations again to the Arbutus community, which is our newest member of the sustainable community family. These are the particular areas that are targeted for revitalization. Next slide, Larry. Thanks. And this is just an example of all of our sustainable communities. We currently have 123 communities, and there are at least 1 community within each jurisdiction. Next slide, Larry. So to confirm whether or not your project is within a sustainable community, we do ask that you go out to our website. You can also Google, neighborhood revitalization mapper, but it is available on our website. And you are able to plug in a specific address, and it should return with the information you need, whether or not it's within a sustainable community. So this is something that we will ask, during the application process, for you all to go out there and collect that information and provide us with that map. All right, back to you, Larry. Thanks.
Okay. So how to access our revitalization resources? Again, being an eligible applicant or partner with an eligible applicant. So we already talked about the eligible applicants for the 4 different programs. So again, if you're not eligible directly yourself, you always can partner with a CDO or local government, and they can apply on behalf of your project. So proposed shovel-ready project. So being a shovel-ready project, it weighs very heavy in our scoring process when we're looking at reviewing our applications, because we pretty much get at least 3 times the amount of funds in requests. So a lot of great projects have to get denied, not because the application is not good, not because the project is not good, just simply for the simple fact that we don't have enough funds to fund everything. But one thing that we do deem very important is projects that are shovel ready. So if you're able to get the award and get the money, are you able to begin to move forward with your project almost immediately? So that's very important. Making a revitalization impact. Again, how much of an impact is your project going to have outside of just your specific address? Will it have a larger wave or a larger impact on the community and the neighborhood in which your project is located? Also, leveraging other resources. In most cases, you know, to have a really competitive application, our project or our money shouldn't be the only money in. You know, so have other funding sources committed, other funds that you can actually leverage, only helps to increase and enhance your application and give you a greater chance to be awarded. So again, it's about the people, place, and plan. So these are 3 critical things that you need to consider when accessing our resources. Now I'm gonna turn it over to Jean. She can actually talk about our community legacy program. After Jean, we're gonna have Nick. He can reintroduce himself. He'll talk about our Bernie program. And then last but not least about our programs, we have Sarah Kim come in, and she's gonna talk about our strategic demolition as well as our seed program. Jean?
Hi everyone, can you hear me? I'm Jean. I'm the project manager for Southwest Baltimore City, Howard, and Anne Arundel County. The Community Legacy Program, or CL, its purpose is to preserve existing communities as places to live and conduct business, to reduce outward pressure for sprawl development, and promote sustainable communities. The eligible use of funds, it's all capital. Eligible areas will be the sustainable communities that Olivia just went over, as well as opportunity zones in Allegheny, Garrett, Somerset, and Wacomico counties. And the eligible applicants are local governments, those nonprofit community development organizations. Good for CL.
Hi, everyone. So this is Nick Mayer. So as I mentioned, I'm the program officer for the Baltimore Regional Neighborhood Initiative program, which we call Bernie. The focus of Bernie is really on that those 3 Ps that Larry mentioned, and Bernie in a particular way is aimed at helping community development corporations that have a plan targeting a specific place to make strategic change happen. And so when you're looking at the Bernie program, those are the keys. We're looking for a community development corporation with a strategic plan that's submitted to the state that's approved that targets a specific area. And the goal is really to increase the competitiveness of our legacy communities within the Beltway around Baltimore City. So as I mentioned, eligible applicants for the Bernie programs are only community development corporations in Baltimore City or inside the Beltway in Baltimore County or Anne Arundel County. There must be a clear revitalization strategy, and we do ask that a 5-year plan be submitted to the department for review at the time that an organization applies. Cross-jurisdictional partnerships are encouraged both Dundalk Renaissance and the Greater Baybrook Alliance down in Brooklyn, Curtis Bay, are successful examples of cross-boundary community development corporations doing good work using Bernie funding. And the plan includes kind of the typical comprehensive plan components of housing, economic development, transportation, environment or natural resources, quality of life, and community engagement. We have 21 Bernie areas, and this map kind of shows the areas that are designated. So we do have some areas of Baltimore County that are currently served by Bernie eligible applicants, but there are other sustainable community areas that overlap between Baltimore City and Baltimore County or lie wholly within Baltimore County that would be eligible for Bernie. And I'm happy to talk with any groups that you meet or know of that have questions about how to become eligible for this funding source. So thank you for your time.
Hello, my name is Sarah Kim. Again, I am the Southeast Region Project Manager for Baltimore City and County. The first slide that I'll talk about is the Strategic Demolition Fund, also is known as SDF. It's a funding for statewide. It's to accelerate economic development and job production, as well as to improve the economic viability of greenfield development, which often faces more barriers than sprawling greenfield development. The eligible use of funds would be pre-development expenditures, such as demolition, site acquisition, site development, public infrastructure improvement, construction level designs, and stabilization. And eligible areas would be sustainable communities within the statewide, and opportunity zones in Allegheny, Garrett, Somerset, and Wiconomo counties. And eligible applicants are local governments, nonprofit community development organizations. Yes, thank you. So this one is Seed Community Development Anchor Institution Fund, as we call it, SEED program, is to provide matching financial assistance through grants and loans to anchor institutions to support local community development projects. The eligible funds would be capital costs such as construction, rehabilitation, acquisition, architectural engineering drawings, site development, public infrastructure improvements, and other costs associated with capital neighborhood improvement projects. And eligible areas would be projects that must be in an area of blight and support the improvement of neighborhood that surrounds an anchor institution. And projects do not need to be located inside of a sustainable community, but if it's located within the sustainable community, it will be given priority consideration. And the eligible applicants are Maryland hospitals and Maryland higher education institutions. So we have a few examples. First, we have the city of Emmitsburg, the Emmitsburg ADA Accessible Playground that was granted in fiscal 19. It was to construct a new ADA compliant playground onto the existing playground site. As you can see on the right, the award amount was $75,000 and the total project cost was $302,350. And it improved the quality of life in community centers. Prior to this playground construction, there have been no ADA accessible playgrounds within 8 miles of the town. Next is the town of Oxford, the Oxford Muse Demo and Historic Stabilization, also funded through our fiscal 19 round. It was a rehabilitation of the 130-year-old mixed-use building known as the Muse, located in the Oxford Historic Commercial District as the original anchor building. The award amount was $175,000. Total project cost was $796,151. And the impact was that the historic Muse structure has been completely stabilized.
Neighborhood Spruce Up program, it's for Bernie. It was awarded fiscal year a couple in a row, 17, 18, 19, and 20. The project description, it provided approximately 4 to 8 grants of $10,000 to $20,000 for public space improvement projects via the Neighborhood Spruce Up program. The award amount was for $175,000, and the impact is a new 140-unit apartment building proposed in the spring of 2019, just a few blocks from the Creative Alliance and Conklin Street Garden. And then we've got the Center for Hope, the Sinai Hospital of Baltimore, applying for the SEED program, awarded SEED funding of $750,000 capital, and then Bernie also gave an additional $250,000, and then the total project cost was $10 million. In construction of the new facility, it's going to be housing the multiple partner agencies responsible for a variety of violence prevention and intervention programs that as we're in Preakness Way in Baltimore. It's architectural and engineering design. And the use is going to be for community and social services, and the primary use of funding was to do new development construction.
Great. Thanks, guys. At this time, we're going to have Jamila Canty introduce herself, and she's going to go through the application process. Jamila, you there?
You're muted, Jamila. No, we can't hear you yet.
Now, can you hear me now?
Yes. Perfect.
Awesome. Okay, so I'll do that intro again. I'm Jamila Canty. I am a project manager with DHCD, and I represent the Northeast Baltimore City and Northeast County, Baltimore of Baltimore County. So now that you have made the decision to go ahead and actually apply for funds, the application process is as it follows here on the screen here. So we have threshold requirements, right? The current awardees, you need to be mindful of being in compliance with your current award agreements. Hold on for just a second. Thank you. All right. With your current award agreements. Also, the sufficient progress must have been made if you are also applying for funds, meaning that you need to make sure that your quarterly reports are being filled out each quarter, or if you have a final report that is due, that has been submitted, and also making sure that your expense summaries from prior awards are submitted, and also to consult with your project manager to discuss the status of your existing projects before you submit any or another application to make sure that you can be in compliance. Thank you. So with the application process, there are mandatory online submissions, and please be mindful of this, because when we go through the application process, if you don't have these documents, it could potentially hold up your review and possibly your award if you are chosen. So for all 2022 SRP applications must be completed and submitted electronically using the DHCD portal. That is our IntelliGrants portal, and that is the link that you see on the screen to the portal. Returning applicants, you already have accounts set up. However, if you do have new staff members on board that will be part of this, of the grant or the application, just reach out to your project manager so that we can set that up. Again, contact your project manager for assistance in accessing the system. Thank you. So the optional attachments for legal exhibits are the notifications for local support, resolutions, or letters of support. Okay, this is an optional document. The state will notify local jurisdictions of your intent, of course, to request support. But please note that the Bernie applicants no longer need to obtain a letter of local government resolutions or a letter of support. The state will notify local jurisdictions of your intent and request support for you. Now, going to the required legal exhibits, You need to make sure that you have your corporate resolution, which provides the signatory authorization of your grant and your application. You need to have a signed disclosure authorization and certification document. And as Olivia was pointing out, that making sure that the address is in the sustainable communities, and you can do that through providing a copy of the map, and you can get a copy of the address through the link that we provided previously to ensure that it is a sustainable communities area. Okay, as it relates to the required attachments again, please make sure that you are noting this. We need a copy of your articles of incorporation, your bylaws, your IRS exemption determination letter, your SDAT, which is to provide a copy of your good standing. So with that, we don't necessarily need the certificate as of yet, but we do need to see the screenshot of the SDAT online for your as part of your application. The list of board members, the board of directors, the operations budget, the independent financial audit of your organization, and the charitable organization registration. We need to have that. Okay. And as it relates to the supporting attachments, we need site control. I apologize, I have a little one who is crying in the background right now. But site control needs to be, needs to connect you as the organization to the, it needs to connect you to the organization from the person who owns the site. So if you are submitting an application for an address that your organization does not currently own, we need to have like a memorandum of understanding or something connecting you, the applicant, to the owner of that site. You also need to have the funding commitments, the cost estimates, definitely the program guidelines. Again, you need to have that sustainable communities map, a memorandum of understanding, and your public relations materials. Okay, it's always important to make sure that you also have photographs. That also helps tell the story of what you plan on doing in your community. You need to make sure that you have, if the project is a site, make sure that you do have photographs of the site. If you have other photos that it may not be, your project may not be a site, photographs are helpful and they do help tell the story. Construction and renovation projects, if you need to make sure that you have your plans, your specs, your construction drawings, okay? You need to make sure that you have your MHT review if you have not begun to process that, if it is applicable to your application. And for construction and renovation projects, a minority business enterprise plan will be required if you are requesting and if the funds exceed the $250K minimum, okay? All right, so for the MHT review, the Maryland Historical Trust review, this is Section 106 compliance. Review is required for all capital projects, okay? Review is required prior to starting the work or disbursement of funds. If a project is reviewed previously by another agency, program, or from a prior fiscal year, just provide that evidence and upload that to your application. If a review has yet to be occurred, DHCD will coordinate and review once the award decisions are made. And we do that in-house if you have not already submitted through another agency. All right, special considerations during the pandemic include as many high quality photographs as possible, focus on virtual meetings and virtual site visits. DHCD has access to Google Meets for video conferencing. Again, if your organization has a different video conferencing setup, we can accommodate that, i.e. this platform here. During the pandemic, we did have minimal in-person site visits and required masks and social distancing. DHCD review team will initiate a lot of our virtual meeting requests.
Thanks, Jamila. Great job.
Mhm.
So right now, we just want to talk about the actual review process after you submitted your application. Your application met threshold. Then we actually go into the review process. And this is just a quick snapshot of all of our different state agency partners that are part of our review team. So again, we have Maryland Historical Trust, we have the Department of Planning, Department of the Environment, we have DOT, we have Department of Natural Resources, and the Department of Commerce all have staff that actually be a part of our review teams. So the review process, project criteria is actually broken down where you get 20 points for the demonstration of the community need for the reinvestment. 35 points, again, as we talked about a little earlier, as far as how critical it is as far as the project details, but more importantly, the readiness to proceed. So having a shovel-ready project is the section that deems the most point on our review. You get 20 points just to display your capacity and or partnership. And lastly, you get 25 points by providing leverage or commitment of other financial resources or funding sources. Priority considerations. If you're helping to revitalize older communities, that's something that is high on our priority consideration. Also, so if you're not just stabilizing or revitalizing older buildings, on the flip side of that, if you're helping to eliminate blight. So in some cases, eliminating blight means demolishing old vacant buildings or deconstruction of an old building, but also you're eliminating blight by rehabbing older buildings that has been sitting vacant and dormant. Thirdly, if you're actually working in a Main Street Maryland community, and again, Christine is going to talk about our Main Street program a little later, but if you're working in the Main Street Maryland community, as well as the Baltimore City Main Street, these are also priority considerations for helping to revitalize in these targeted areas. Lastly, if it's a TOD project, if it's a transit-oriented development project that will help even with housing, connecting to housing or job opportunities, workforce development, these are priority considerations. In addition to that, if you have a project that is environmentally responsible or environmentally friendly, if it's a green project or if it's helping energy efficient or is helping, again, to be environmentally friendly, that is a consideration of ours. We like green projects. In addition to that, if you have a project and it uses a full range of state and local revitalization programs and financial tools, that also is a consideration. We really try to target a lot of our state resources. So if you happen to have some tax credits or some additional loans from other state agencies in your project, we'd like to kind of stack our resources and have a targeted effort to make sure that we get these projects not only started, but get them finished. In addition to that, workforce development. If you have a project that will improve or increase job opportunities in your community, that's definitely a major consideration. We definitely want to help to encourage and increase the amount of temporary and permanent jobs that's available in our neighborhoods. Additional consideration, again, we talked about project timeline. We cannot emphasize projects being shovel ready enough, but having a project that is project ready to go, as well as meeting the first anniversary date requirement. Each award has a lifespan of 2 years, and within that first year, there's a requirement that you at least draw down half of your award amount. So if, for example, if you received a $200,000 grant award, that first year, the requirement is to at least have $100,000 of those funds drawn down in the first year. So again, that ties right back into projects that's being shovel ready. If your project is ready to move forward based on you being able to access and utilize the award, those funds should be drawn down pretty quickly. If you're not in good standings, if you're not compliant, and this is more so for any existing awardees, you will not be able to receive your password for the FY23 round. You will have to make sure that your current or previous awards are in good standards and compliant with quarterly reports or final reports or requests for payments and things of that nature in order to be able to receive your password for the upcoming round. And again, we are projecting that the round will be announced sometime in May and open maybe the end of May, early June, and all applications will be due in July. So again, if you are a current customer of ours and you're not too sure if you're in compliance, if you submitted all your quarterly reports, or if you met all of your requirements, feel free to reach out to your project manager. We'll be more than willing to assist you. Award types, again, we award both grants as well as loan projects. Large awards involving new development of acquisition, rehab may require future profits or a percentage of the award be repaid back to the department. Loans are secured by a promissory note, deed of trust, or security agreement as required by the department. So again, in some cases, we do loans. Again, all of our loans are 0% interest loans because it's not like we're really trying to make money on our funds, but in a lot of cases, we have to make sure that we are protecting our taxpayer dollars and making sure the funds are used properly. We don't want to allow some of our nonprofits to gain some of this access to this money and partner with a for-profit entity or developer, and they actually develop a project, sell it for a boatload of money, and move on with tons and tons of profit. So we just put certain measures in place to make sure that we are responsible for our taxpayer dollars. This is a list of our entire team, Team 2. So this is a list of all of our project managers statewide. So again, you had the pleasure of meeting me and 4 other of our staff members, but the other staff that's included, they deal with other parts of Maryland. So here's a list here. So that pretty much concludes our presentation. Again, we thank you for the time. And right now we're open up for any questions before we move forward.
Thank you, Larry. I'm trying to see if we have any questions. Anybody has any questions? We can use, I see Tayoka Hall has her hand raised. We cannot hear you. Okay. And you can type your question in the chat box. You can either raise your hand if you have a question, or you can type it in the chat box, and we're gonna monitor that chat box for any questions.
Are you able to hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, so I have a couple of questions about beginning one with the charitable exemption requirement. If we have applied and our exemption status as a 501c3 is pending, that's pretty much almost a 6-month process. It's a long process for us to receive that determination letter. Would we be eligible to still apply if we were in a state of readiness for this particular grant program or award program?
Unfortunately, no. You actually have to legally be approved and set up to be a 501c3 CDO, Community Development Organization, or Community Development Corporation, I understand it is a long process, especially since the pandemic. It's been extremely slower than usual, but unfortunately, legally, we can't proceed or move forward and access funds if the entity is not set up and have been approved as a nonprofit.
Okay, so just to restate, in order for us to be eligible, we must have received our formal determination letter from the IRS. We cannot be in a pending status for receipt of that determination letter. Is that correct?
That's absolutely correct, because one of the requirements is a copy of the IRS determination letter. If you don't have that, then that's part of our threshold review.
Okay.
And not able to move to the next stage without that legal document. So, but again, as we mentioned in the presentation, alternative is you possibly reaching out to one of your local partners that is eligible, and they might be willing to apply on your behalf for the project. So we really encourage partnership. One thing that's very unique that we didn't highlight in our training is that our funds is one that encourage collaboration and partnership. And I know that's extremely unique. In most cases, funding is almost like, it's very competitive. It's like, I'm afraid that if I help somebody else, that's going to take away from my ability to receive funding and assistance. But in our cases, we encourage collaboration and partnership because we really believe the more collective effort in a target area, the greater the impact and how the easier it is for turnover for us revitalizing and changing the neighborhood. So that's why, especially for like our Bernie programs and things of that nature, oftentimes we have, and that's plan-based, as Nick alluded to. So that's like a lot of the different local stakeholders sitting at the table, coming out with their ideas of what's needed. And in that, oftentimes they might submit 5 to 10 applications under one specific entity. And in most cases, most of them are awarded. So hopefully that answered your question.
That does, because my next question was going to be with respect to an alternate partnership, or does the organization that the community development organization partner with, must they, with the parameters that were outlined for those who are eligible for this, must the partner fall within the categories outlined as being eligible for the grant? For instance, if a partner with the CDO is not a CDO or a hospital, but say a member or something working with the CDO, do you understand where I'm going with this?
Well, so the partner may not have to be the CDO, but whoever is actually applying for the funds have to be eligible. So that the actual applicant has to be a CDO, community development organization, or a local government to be able, or a CDFI has to be able to be the ones that's actually submitting and filling out the application. But again, the partner doesn't have to be. It can be a for-profit developer, it can be a community, a stakeholder, it could be a church. So it could be various entities that serves as partners, but whoever is submitting the application has to be an eligible applicant. If not, unfortunately, the application will not be processed.
Okay. The letter of there was mention of letter, not memorandum, but a letter of.
The letter of intent.
Yeah, letter of intent.
Mm-hmm.
Was that letter, is that similar to somewhat of a recommendation from a government body or government entity or someone that falls into that category? Is that what that means, or does that mean something totally different?
Yeah, it means something a little different. In most cases, letter of intent, it can come from a couple different angles. So say, for example, you are applying to redevelop an old historical structure, right? Mm-hmm. And you may be in a process receiving some financial assistance or get a loan from a banking institution, and they might provide a letter of intent saying, look, we intent on providing funding to this project pending. So it's not like a hard commitment because you may have not been through the entire review process with that bank for them to determine, but based on the current conversations, they are interested, they like the project concept, they like the idea, the project itself seems to be solid, but they have to go through the proper steps in order for them to give you the hard commitment. So that's one example of a letter of intent. Another one is a letter of intent, even when it comes to a site control. So you might not actually have a contract of sale, you might not actually own the site, but it might be a letter of intent.
Participant has joined the meeting. A participant has left the meeting.
So it might be an owner has a letter of intent saying, look, we plan on selling this property to XYZ CDC, contingent upon them being awarded state funding or what have you. So it's just a couple different ways that a letter of intent can be used, because it's pretty much the intent of what will happen, but you're not in a position to actually provide a strong commitment on this is currently the case, if that makes sense. And again, any of my team, you guys can chime in. I don't want to necessarily dominate, because I have a team of very intelligent and brilliant staff. So you guys feel free to jump in as well.
All right, I see a couple of hands. We'll do Jamila, then we'll go to Sharon.
I have one last question.
Oh, okay, sorry.
My last question was regarding the strategic plan review. You mentioned, or it was mentioned, that the strategic plan has to be reviewed and approved, and it should have a five-year out year plan. What is the period of performance for the award? If you are awarded, what is the period of performance? Is it a 1 year opportunity, or is it intended to, or do you have some flexibility in the length and time of the projects?
That's a great question. And Larry, I'm happy to take point on this one. So
please do.
The only grant program that we have that does require that the applicant have a strategic plan is the Baltimore Regional Neighborhoods Initiative. And you know, the applicant must be a community development corporation targeting an area that is a sustainable community area that's within the Beltway around Baltimore, you know, in the county or in the city. So as long as those criteria are met, then an entity can apply for Bernie funds and submit a plan for review. We have a template that you know, you would use. Our goal is not to put community development corporations through some kind of $50,000 or $75,000 flashy strategic plan process before they can come and use Bernie funds. But what we want to see is that people, plan, place approach that we talked about is really being done in the community group, and that there's this strategic focus over 5 years of thinking about how to move the needle holistically by acting in categories like environment, transportation, economy, housing, and that the plan reflects that. Once you have a plan that has been reviewed and approved by the department, you know, you apply for grants just like any other program that we have, and those grants have a 2-year life cycle. And so the individual projects that you're applying for under the Bernie program, they'll be meeting just the normal requirements of the grant programs. You know, we'll be looking to see that the project is ready to go. We'll be looking, you know, 1 year after an award, have 50% of the funds been drawn? Is the project making progress? And at the end of 2 years, although, you know, maybe the project continues, we would look to see that all the state funds that were awarded have been spent and that part of the project is complete. And so the kind of the plan requirement to have a plan, you know, at the beginning that shows a 5-year strategic plan is separate from the timeline that occurs for any given grant award once an entity is Bernie eligible. Now, I would add to this 2 things. So the Community Legacy Program and the Baltimore Regional Neighborhoods Initiative Program can both do the same things, except that the Bernie program is focused within the Beltway on that strategic component.
Okay.
Community legacy does not require a plan. And the planning process is typically relatively long. We are looking to see, although we don't want to see you waste time or money on some flashy plan, you know, although that's great. It's certainly great if you want to, and those can be powerful fundraising, community building tools. But, you know, we don't want to put that hurdle up to prevent you from accessing funds. But we still want to see, you know, that the community was involved, that this is a plan that really represents a consensus for the area that's being nominated. And that the entity that's applying has done that groundwork and has spent that time. And so it can take, you know, a year or 2 years for a group to really do that work and put together a plan that reflects the community and that's ready for approval. If you have projects that you're thinking about that are eligible for Bernie, they would be eligible for community legacy now. And it may make sense in the more immediate term to think about, how do we start that planning process for a Bernie designation in the future? And you can work with me as the program officer to make sure that, you know, you have a good sense of that process and you're beginning a planning process that's going to result in a good Bernie plan. But if you have a project that's more ready to go, don't wait 2 years to finish your plan and have it approved. Consider applying through Community Legacy or the Strategic Demolition Fund, either of which might be good fits already and would give you a chance to get used to how our programs work and how to use our funds while you're still doing that work of getting ready to qualify as a potential Bernie organization.
Okay, great. Okay, I'll stop there. Let someone else go.
All right, so next we'll go with Sharon.
Thank you. I know that you all mentioned in the beginning about Project Restore, and I think that falls under the Department of Commerce, but I have a couple of questions that I'm hoping somebody might be able to answer. I know you mentioned that it might be reopening, and I was just curious whether when it reopens, I know they had a lot more applications for that program than they had funding for it. Will the first people to be considered be the ones that did not get the funding in the first round, or will it be open for new applications immediately? And secondly, is there any idea on the timeline for the opening of that program?
Hi, Sharon. It's Christine McPherson. I don't want to take away from Larry Brown and his team with their questions and their presentation, but just to quickly say, I am going to cover Project Restore in my remarks here in just a few minutes, and the round will be opening, I believe, in June.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have Sharon, any other question?
No, that's it. Thank you.
You're welcome. So in the chat, we have a question from Dr. Denise Daniels. Can you apply if you are an EDC?
I'm assuming EDC is Economic Development Corporation. Yeah. What we will do is we will request to actually see a copy of your legal documents, which is like bylaws and articles. And that way, once we review them, we can determine. It's kind of hard to really say without seeing those documents because across the board, EDCs may not be eligible. So, but if we can review your legal documents, we could actually respond back on an individual basis.
Thank you.
No problem.
And then I have a question from Bettina. She's on the phone. Bettina, please go ahead.
Yes, I was just curious with when you were talking about having the projects ready and the technical drawings that you needed to approve the project. Is there any kind of, with being a new organization, you know, we don't have a whole lot of money in the bank. So does the county help facilitate, like, I know they have the architect on call, but as far as if we need other technical drawings, because usually they're kind of pricey, and I was just curious to how that situation plays out a little bit.
I'm going to chime in really quickly. It's Christine McPherson again. This will be a great kind of segue perhaps into what I'm going to be talking about, because we have an operating assistance grant, and one of the funding sources under that is technical assistance, and that would pay for architectural drawings, consultant fees, things of that nature that might prelude an application to Larry and his team under Community Legacy.
That's perfect.
And
you.
just to that, that's a great answer, Christine. But also, I think it's just good to have a conversation with your project manager in your area, because oftentimes what we can do is to make sure that your project is shovel ready, we can phase it. So instead of looking at big picture from start to finish, A to Z, if you're not there as far as the actual completion of a project, let's concentrate on the first phase. And that first phase might be acquisition and pre-development work. So it's different ways that you can position yourself to have a competitive application with limited resources or not being so far along in the process. But again, that's where, you can find the benefit of talking to your project manager.
Okay, that's awesome. Thank you so much.
All right, I thought I saw Chantel's hands up. Chantel, do you have a question?
It was answered already. It was regarding the technical assistant grant, but I understand it, that it can precede any community legacy projects that we have in mind.
Okay, great. I
Thank you.
have a question from Jessica in the chat. What about 501c4 community associations?
Again, that's the case-by-case basis. We have to, if it's not a traditional community development corporation or community development organization, we will have to look at the legal documents to determine if it's eligible or not, because it may very well be. So, but we can't just give a blanket statement without saying that. So 501c4s, EDCs, and anything outside of the traditional CDOs and CDCs, we would have to review the legal documents to determine eligibility.
Larry, sorry if I could chime in really quickly. This is Olivia. I think I agree 100% with what you're saying, Larry. I think, however, communities associations and similar to homeowner associations, they're a little bit, they lean toward usually not being eligible applicants. Usually, we see 501c3 and 501c6s, as long as, again, the articles and bylaws state that they have, that revitalization community development purpose. So yeah, with any questions, reach out to us and, be able to provide your organizational documents.
All right, I'm looking. Anybody else? Tayoka?
Unless if someone else has a question, they can go first. I can always wait a second.
Oh, please, you can please proceed.
Okay, so the another question regarding, I couldn't remember all of the requirements for the application, but my question really focuses on the status of our budget. Is it expected that our budget match whatever it is? I'm sorry, our annual budget, whatever our annual budget is coming in for the organization. Of course, it may be quite different than what we're applying for an award. Are you looking for anything specific in just a standard budget for the CDO, or is there some certain types of criteria that you'll be reviewing in the budget that we submit for that? And do you expect that it'll be a budget that comes with books that have been audited by an accounting authority?
Okay, I was just giving somebody else the opportunity if they want to chime in. So again, in the early stages of submitting your application, we are just looking for I think we asked for previous and current operating budget for you to submit. Again, depending on how long your organization has been around, you know, we request a copy of a financial audit. In some cases, some entities may not have had it yet, or maybe too small. So in those cases, it's a case-by-case basis. I don't think the audit part is a required field. However, the operating budget for previous and current are definitely required fields. But these are things that we can talk to the applicant about in more detail. However, if you don't have a financial audit, you know, the alternative is to provide something on letterhead stating we haven't had an audit yet, or we're in the process of getting one, or what have you. Just something to satisfy and explain, paint a clear picture on where your organization stands and why it has not had an audit.
Okay, the reason why I was asking is I wanted to make sure that by us indicating that we are a certain size and not required by the state of Maryland to actually have an audit, would that in any way preclude us from being eligible? And that would be the basis for not having an audit.
Absolutely. And again,
okay.
So in those cases, you just want to paint a clearest picture as possible. You want to remove any room for assumption. So if that is the case, you'll put that on letterhead. We have not did an audit because of this, that, and the other. So again, we have different state agencies on our review team. Some of them, you know, may not be as well versed with our programs as we are, of course. So the more you can paint the picture and explain your application, the more competitive and the better it will work in your favor. And just on a project side of it, of course, we in the early stages, you can put in funding that's not committed. So if you have applications pending, you're asking for $50,000 from this foundation, you're applying for a loan for $500,000 from this bank, you can put those things in, but you'll just identify it as pending and not committed. But as it moves further in the process, if your application is selected to move forward, then we will begin to kind of hone down and narrow down on those committed funds, opposed to big picture of all of the funds that's also just pending, if that makes sense.
It does. Thank you.
All right, any other questions for Larry's team? If not, I believe Kristen is next.
Great. Okay, so just a little bit about the Main Street Maryland program, which is the project that I manage on a regular basis for our team. Main Street, we are the Department of Housing and Community Development. We are the state coordinating program for the National Main Street Center. So this is a program that is throughout the United States. I think there's almost one in every single state. Maryland, we have 33 designated local communities. So our department works with those local communities to revitalize their districts, which really are comprised of that historic downtown core. We also have a program that launched a few years ago called the Affiliate Program, the Affiliate Main Street Program, and that is for communities that don't meet the requirements to become fully designated, that they can practice the revitalization strategies and kind of the structure of Main Street at the national level in their community. As well as having some access to us at the department to kind of help them along the way. The affiliate program is also used by some organizations, some local governments, as a way to kind of, I call it try on or test if the program is a right fit and works for their community, and that their community can get behind it and support it as a stepping stone to becoming a fully designated Main Street program. So here in Baltimore County, you guys as designated communities have Reisterstown and Dundalk, and affiliate programs, you have Towson. So you guys have a good kind of start here within the county. We have an open application for Main Streets, whether it's an affiliate or a designated community. I don't have a PowerPoint, so I started putting some information in the chat as Larry and his team were talking. So my email is in the chat already, and then I have another chat that I'm going to send out that has the different project managers within my team as I start talking about the different funding opportunities that we have, so that you can have their direct contact as well. And certainly feel free to contact me and I can point you in the right direction and provide you information that you may need. So I want to talk a little bit about, in the time that we have remaining, I want to leave some time for questions at the end, the funding opportunities that we have on our team. As Amy had mentioned at the beginning of this call, we're pretty fortunate. We have some rounds that are open and are going to open here relatively soon. So this is kind of great timing to have the call. Our operating assistance grant program is open, and that consists of 2 funding sources. That's the Main Street Improvement Program and the Technical Assistance Grant. We refer to the Main Street Improvement Program as MIP, and MIP is open to designated Main Street communities and or their local government. So it's nonprofit and local government based. So those are the individual organizations that are eligible to apply for that. However, if you find yourself wondering, well, how do I get a piece of this pie? Because I'm not a Main Street designated community, there is the Technical Assistance Grant as part of Operating Assistance Program. So the Technical Assistance Grant, it's all operating funds. It's a 1-year grant. The max request amount is up to $50,000, and it can be for any community development, economic kind of revitalization projects that you have for your community. So someone was talking earlier about perhaps not being ready, like shovel ready for one of Larry's programs because they still need, architectural drawings, or they need consultant work or technical assistance to get them to that level. A technical assistance grant, a TAG grant, would be a wonderful funding resource to help you with that. So a lot of times Larry's team and our team work together on projects, and we have different phases of it. And in general, usually our team is that beginning because we can potentially set up a good project for SRP. So that is our technical assistance grant. And our other funding that we have that's going to be opening here on May 5th. Let me back up and say, I'm sorry, Operating Assistance Grants is open now until May 18th. It closes on May 18th. And you would need to register in the IntelliGrants, the DHCD grant portal, and you can find that opportunity within there. Community Investment Tax Credit. This is a funding opportunity for nonprofits. Nonprofits can use Community Investment Tax Credits as an incentive to get additional donations or funds into the organization. So if your organization is a nonprofit and you receive tax credits, you can incentivize your donors to donate or donate more, because for every $500 that they would give your organization, they get $250 back in tax credits. And so that's just, again, a way to incentivize donations coming into the nonprofit organization. That is a 2-year grant program. Let me see, I don't know if I have the max request amount, but I believe it is $50,000 is the max for that as well. Okay. And another program that we have, and something that your communities might be interested in, is Keep Maryland Beautiful. It's a lot like the Main Street program. It has a national umbrella, Keep America Beautiful. And our department has a Keep Maryland Beautiful affiliate program where you can apply to become a participating community for what we call KMB, Keep Maryland Beautiful. And they have cleanup and green up grants that happen annually. It's a $5,000 max grant award, and it's for litter elimination, beautification, greening initiatives within your community. Those applications generally open in the fall, so they're not open right now, but again, that is our Keep Maryland Beautiful program. Let's see. One of our newest programs that you might have heard a lot about here in the last few weeks, I think the governor made an announcement about our first round of awards, was Community Safety Works. Community Safety Works is a program that is helping with crime prevention in communities and safety overall. There's two components to that program. There is a facility improvement, so it's giving nonprofit organizations houses of worship and the opportunity to apply and to upgrade their facility to be more to be safer. Those applications, a lot of those were for lighting, cameras, audio and pedestrian kind of circulation improvements, eyes on the street, ways of kind of cleaning up blight or removing tree canopies for better visual, and also some like community pride and ownership activities, such as, you know, beautifying the streets, sidewalks, signage, removal of blight, things of that nature. So the facility improvement application underneath Community Safety Works was for a max award of $25,000. And there also was a business district improvement component to it, which was up to $100,000. And that was for the business district is for the designated Main Street communities, Baltimore City's 8 designated communities, and nonprofit organizations whose mission contributes to economic development in a business district. So that is our Community Safety Works. I think there was over 300 awards that were made, and it was almost $10 million that was awarded. And there will be 2 future rounds of that program. Those dates have not been announced yet, so I don't know when the next round will start, but it's something that a lot of you here on the call would potentially qualify for. So please keep that in mind. And then Sharon was inquiring about Project Restore, which is a program of our department, the Department of Housing and Community Development. It was to incentivize or to help support businesses and property owners, in particular businesses that were expanding or opening in vacant spaces. Our first round had been announced several months ago, and there is a second round opening in June, July timeframe. This is a fantastic opportunity, especially for those of you, I mean, really for all of you, but in particular chambers of commerce that work with business owners. There's 2 components to the Project Restore program. There's a property assistance grant. So again, that helps for someone who's either renting the space or own the space. It is up to $30,000 for 1 year or $2,500 a month max. And that would support the rent, the mortgage payment, insurance, utilities, anything like that for the property assistance grant. And the second opportunity underneath Project Restore was a business operations grant. And that was for, that is based on the business applicant's sales and use tax. And a portion of their sales and use tax is really, essentially, it's refunded to them as payment towards that award. And so It's based on 2 tiers. I don't want to get too involved in this because it can get very, you know, into the weeds kind of on things, but it's 2 tiers. The first tier is 2 years up to 250,000, and the second tier was 1 year up to 250,000 for these businesses. Sorry, I didn't mean to mute myself. I'm going to put into the chat some information here. I thought I had the whole thing. I guess I erased it. All right, I will work as we're going through some questions here at the very end and make sure that I put in the email addresses to the different project managers on my team. As I had mentioned before, I am the project manager for Main Street. I can also help answer questions about operating assistance grants and community safety works. We have Keith Mainhart, who I just put his. Keith is with our Project Restore team. So if you have any questions about Project Restore, Keith is a good person to reach out to. Alyssa Clemens is our project manager for Keep Maryland Beautiful. And Barbara Kearney is our project manager for the Community Investment Tax Credit. So I'm going to take a moment and put their information into the chat so that you guys have it. And in the meantime, I can help answer any questions that you may have.
Great. I think I have one question in the chat from Tayuka. She wants to know, is there a succinct list of all the grants and programs with associated deadlines that can be shared?
So I have that's a difficult question, and yet it should not be one. Each program has its own webpage on the DHCD website. And those web pages are updated on a regular basis with, you know, when the opportunities are going to open. The best way to stay in the know about when a program is going to open is by registering in the DHCD portal, that IntelliGrants portal that we were both Larry and myself have talked about, because when something opens, you're going to get a notice through the system. So that's really the best way. The reason why keeping a document kind of updated with regular open dates is because they fluctuate from year to year, depending on legislation and other things and other priorities happening within the government. So, but I can send something over that gives out a description of each of the programs that I've talked about and some information about their term and their max award amount, their program manager contact information. And I can also put in there an approximate, like I can say these generally open early spring or these generally open in the fall. I can definitely do something like that.
That would be very helpful. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
You have your hand raised?
Yes, actually, and then I have on the Main Street program, you mentioned that there are affiliates who may not necessarily aren't designated as Main Street or don't necessarily meet a certain criteria. Is there, I'm a little familiar, but not intricately familiar with the Main Street program. Is there, how would an area go about either knowing or learning if they can be determined to be eligible as a Main Street in order to apply for a Main Street grant? Is there criteria for that?
There is, and I can put a link into the Maryland, the Main Street Maryland webpage on the DHCD website that can give you some information. Some basic criteria that I can just kind of share with the group right now is that you have to have over 1,000 people in population for your area. You have to have a downtown commercial district that you can kind of define. You have to have local government support. So an application can come in either through local government. So for Baltimore County, that would be Baltimore County, and or it can be through a nonprofit organization, but they would have to have that support of local government. The designation always rests in and with local government, and they the nonprofit entity can partner with that local government to administer the program on a daily basis. Okay, so you certainly have to have local government's consent to become a designated community. I'm trying to think of what else. So it has to be a sustainable community area, so you already have to have that designation. Those are like the three big things that kind of jump out. Oh, another kind of big thing would be that you have to be able to employ a full-time Main Street manager. So that is quite a big, you know, hurdle for some organizations to kind of get over. So again, I had talked about having that affiliate program, which is kind of that entry level, try it on. Some communities will never become designated for one reason or another, and that is okay. You can stay in that affiliate status for as long as you like, and then others will use that affiliate status as, again, as a stepping stone to becoming a fully designated, to kind of build up partnership and collaboration within the community to really, you know, kind of blossom into this fully designated community.
Thank you. And then for the property assistance grant that you mentioned, could possibly award up to $25,000 that goes towards rent or whatever those types of things are for the property. Is that, I'm not sure if I heard you, or maybe I didn't understand it when you were speaking. Is that grant also something that you can use to purchase property or a portion of? Okay.
No, and I think, you know, I am trying to go through this relatively quickly just so that we had time for questions and such like that at the end. The 25,000. So if you're talking about Project Restore, the property assistance grants was up to 30,000. It's the max is 30,000. It's $2,500 a month, up to 30 for the year, and that is for rent, mortgage, property insurance, or utilities.
Okay.
And yeah, so that's either for like a property owner or for someone who's leasing.
Has left the meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Sharon.
Just a quick question, following up on what I asked earlier. I know that they had a lot of applications for Project Restore beyond what they were able to fund in the first round. Will those applications be considered first prior to any new applications coming in when it opens?
That's a very good question. And Sharon, I can follow up with you on that. I know that there has been some conversations about that, but I don't know that a final decision has been made. So I know the current applicant pool, whether it was funded or not, that the department still is working with them and communicating with them. So if you know of a business owner that applied during that first round and was denied because we ran out of funds, then they would certainly receive communication from us if we were going to move forward with starting to fund those before we opened up another, you know, round or anything. So that's as long as they were eligible. You know, anyone who applied to the program first and were not eligible, did not fill out the application correctly, or did not submit everything that was needed, you know, those are denied and they would need to reapply. So I can certainly definitely find out for you and let you know if there's a decision made.
Okay, thank you.
Next, we have Jay.
Yeah, Christina, I have a quick question for you, and it's around that Main Street manager position. So in my nonprofit days, you learn how to figure out the ways to make these things happen, right? So
yeah,
what is there like a defined role, defined position, defined hours that you have to meet? And then I see you saying yes, so I got that one checked. Is there the ability to utilize other funding, either through the state or other ways to fund that actual position? Because I'm sure other groups have gone through this, right, where they're trying to find a way to fund that position. So just trying to find out ways we can do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And certainly, you know, for any like specific questions about your organization, if you want to follow up with me later, we can certainly have continual conversations about this, but in general, when I was talking about the operating assistance grant, that Main Street Improvement Program, the MIP part of OAG, we love our acronyms at the state, that is specific for designated Main Street communities. So you can pull from that MIP request up to $50,000 annually for operating. And so a lot of programs will use that operating money to help fund their Main Street manager position.
Got it. Thank you.
Or other staff salaries, right?
Perfect.
The Main Street model is a great model that allows you, as the program matures and gets kind of rolling, for you to produce income into the organization through events and other promotions and things of that nature. So a lot of times, once you kind of get things rolling, you're able to produce some revenue that then can pay for your manager.
Great. I'm looking. Any other questions?
They went easy on me.
Yes, Ms. Tayuka?
Last question for the Main Street. It's Main Street. You mentioned Reisterstown and Towson as Main Street program areas. Is there a list of areas that are affiliate versus Main Street? I saw on the Main Street page that there are lots of areas around, but I can't tell if those are affiliate or if they're actually designated Main Street.
So just to clarify, your designated communities in Baltimore are Dundalk and Reisterstown, and Towson is an affiliate program. Just to clarify, the Main Street Maryland website lists our 33 designated communities. And so those literally go all the way out from Western Maryland in Oakland, kind of as far west as you can go, to, you know, all throughout the middle of the state, to Elkton and Cecil County, all the way down to Ocean City. So we really are kind of all across the state, which is fantastic. And affiliate programs, I believe right now there's 10 of those. Those are not listed on the website, but I can certainly follow up, or you can email me and I can give you a list of affiliate programs.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I do see a question in the chat. I am on the website from Dr. Denise Daniels. I'm on the website. Where do I sign up for notification of grants?
Okay, so it's not on the website, it's on the DHCD project portal. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna try to get that URL for you and I'll put it into the chat. And copy. All right, this is to the, that doesn't look right, does it? I'm not sure. Paste. Okay, let's see if it does it. I tried putting it in the, okay, good, it came through. All right, I might have put it in there twice, so I apologize. But I put the link to the DHCD project portal where you can register as a new user and put a profile in for your community, which will help you get notifications about grant rounds opening that your community would be eligible for. And then you can always go to the DHCD website, and on our homepage, you can sign up for our newsletter. That's another opportunity for you to kind of be in the know about what's happening, what programs are available. Let me see if I can get that link for you as well. And then the second link is to the DHCD website, and there is a registration button on the homepage.
All right, any other questions for Ms. Christine or for Larry's team? Well, not hearing none. I think we're gonna wrap it up. I think we got a lot of good information today. I want to thank you for attending this seminar. We hope that you enjoyed it. I want to also thank the Maryland DHCD for your time and your presentation. So as I said, the recording and the presentation slides will be posted online, and we will send everyone the link once it becomes available. And we'll also send all the information in the chat box to you all. So, and if you have any questions, you can contact your project manager or your program officer directly, or you can always contact the Department of Planning. So again, I want to thank you all for taking time out of your busy schedule to be here today. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Thank you very much for your help.
Bye.
Thank you.
A participant has left the meeting.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.